Is the gentleman from Utah, Vice Chairman of this committee, Representative Owens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is really unfortunate that it's been over a year since our first hearing on anti-Semitism, a year and a half since October 7th, and we're still talking about rooting out anti-Semitism on our college campuses. The vision of our educational institutions from our very founding has been tied to the aspirations of our nation, stated in the preamble of the Constitution, to become a more perfect union. We are failing our kids. What are we getting instead? Students graduating with enormous debt, knowing nothing about our country's history, culture, vision, or sacrifices. Students who are angry, lacking common sense and common decency toward anyone who looks different than them or holds a different opinion. Our educational institutions become the feeding grounds for Marxists, an ideology that abhors our culture of faith, family, the free market, and wisdom through education. Young people who supposedly be our future leaders are being taught to hate America and hate Israel. And they have no shame in running around in gangs, hiding their faces as they burn and break other people's property. They intimidate, threaten, and attack people who they don't know because they've been taught to hate by their college professors. These cowardly bullies feel no threat about accountability because the adults in charge have empowered them to negotiate their anti-Semitic views on their terms. We're seeing too many words and too little action. As an observation, as someone who grew up in the Deep South, 1960s Jim Crow Deep South, the KKK would have loved the environment that we're now seeing on too many of our colleges. And many of them would have graduated with honors. With our new administration, the majority in the House and the Senate, this is going to come to a screeching halt. Accountability is back. Dr. Raymond, Harvard's social honor code, which students are required to pledge to commit, states that the acts of discrimination, microaggression, and harassment, including and not limited to acts of racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, classism, ableism, which I have no idea what that is, tokenism, cultural insensitivity, discrimination based on citizenship status, discrimination based on religion, and discrimination based on natural origin, accent, dialect, or usage of the English language are devoid of respect and therefore, by definition, violate this code. First of all, Doctor, who made up this code? Who's the authors of this code of conduct?
Our honor code, which is both governing our social action and academics at Haverford, is written by students and approved by students.
Sounds like
and
okay.
I
Thank you.
then
Thank you.
take responsibility.
Sounds like students that have been taught how to be Marxists, by the way. This part of this here is the uses of the English language. Is that now a form of discrimination? I see this in the code. The usage of the English language. What does that have to do with the code of conduct?
We are actively revising that code to better meet the moment.
All right. They also state that Harvard students commit to being actively anti-racist and particularly commit to rejecting anti-blackness, recognizing white privilege, challenging structures of whiteness and white comfort, and crediting the work of Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and especially women of color. So are Jewish people considered white privilege by chance?
We do not tolerate any discrimination or bias at the college, and as I said, that code is under active revision.
I would suggest that you put somebody in charge that are adults, all right? Because obviously this is from folks who've been trained how to hate, and now it's becoming a policy of the college, which should not be acceptable. Dr. Manuel, first of all, I'm impressed with the actions you're saying you're going to take. We look forward to following up on that. I think part of the problem is what's the teaching that's going on in between. You have someone, Taryn Webb, who made this, some very appalling statements about Jewish people. says this historical fact that American Jewish immigrants have always been the foundational building block for white supremacist infrastructure in this country. He also said the state of Israel, much like U.S., is facilitating a white supremacist racial caste. Let me just say this. Leadership has to figure out how to get rid of this rot within your colleges. It's great to say these great things, but if you have people that hate our kids and hate each other and teach that, it's not going to change. We'll have to address it on the federal level. We can't change it on your area. Okay, so with that, I'll yield back.
I thank the gentleman. I now recognize the gentleman from Indiana.